Hi, I'm Craig Phillips. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build your own swinging pallet bench. And the tools you're going to require are a chop saw. If you don't have a chop saw, a hand saw will be fine. A mallet or a hammer, cordless drill, a sander, tape measure and pencil, set square, various size drill bits, various size screws, polyurethane glue and a cork gun, a ratchet or an adjustable spanner, some long eyelet bolts, 4 chains and a spirit level. Now the materials I'm going to use to build my swinging pallet bench are pallets, of course. I've got 2 of them. I'm going to cut them up and make the actual seat, reinforce them of course, but the entire frame is going to be built from these large 4x4 tannalized fence posts. So I'm going to start off with a sketch and work out some dimensions on here. This here is the A-frame made out of the 4x4, braced together by some 3x2, all tannalized timber, so it's for outside. 1 centerpiece spanning across, again that's going to be 4 inches, sitting onto the opposite A-frame. The eyelet bolts in the center here, 4 chains holding onto the bench, which will be made out of pallets. Now pallets come in different sizes. These ones I'm using are just 1 meter in length. Sometimes they can go to 1200 millimeters, 1800 millimeters, 2 meters. So you can build your bench relatively any size you want to. But this is only going to be a small one, just big enough to sit 2 people on here. Now, I'm going to have one as a base and then one as an upright for the back, like this, of course, going to be sat on and leant against. Now this is a little bit too high, so I am going to cut some off this, and I'm going to cut it off in a way where I can keep these 4 skids in place, because they're going to be screwed and fixed to the 4 skids on this base pallet. Now cutting them off, you can of course always use your hand saw. You can just get in there. You could use a circular saw, or if you happen to have a reciprocate saw, that can make it a bit quicker and easier. There we go. Sometimes if you're careful, you can get bits out that can be reused. Always check you got no nails in them before you put them down on the floor. So if you find a nail like that, it's very tight, it can practically lift the pallet up. Press something underneath them that's equally as hard as the hammer. You find it does lever them out that little bit easier. Now we're happy with the size of that there. It now needs to be fixed to that base one. So I'm just lining it up now, and what I want to do is cut some of these skids down again, which will fit in between here. They'll be glued and screwed into this skid coming down there, and also the bottom skid off here, and that'll act as a splint, like a brace, to hold that into position. So I'll just cut this down to size. This now wants to be fitted in here, so I'm going to apply some glue. So that's good now. It's perfectly sandwiched together with the skid that's on this pallet, and that's the new one that's come in, and it's acting like a splint running right the way across, and now it's crossing onto the skid on this bottom pallet. I'll get a couple of screws in there now, and that'll be nice and strong for when the glue dries. So that's nice and secure now. Fixed into there, I'm going to do the same on the opposite side here, which will come down and catch this skid, and then there's 2 more in the very center here. I'll slide 2 pieces down here all the way down to the bottom, glue and fix them into all 4 skids on the bottom part of the pallet. So that's my back section now firmly fixed into position, fixed to this base. I'm going to do the same with 2 more skids, putting them along here and at the opposite end. Now it doesn't need it to make the actual pallet any stronger. What I need it for is when my 4 chains come down here, front and back, they need to bolt into that. So it needs to be very strong. I'm kind of doubling up the strength of this because remember, 2 people are going to be sitting on it and it is going to be moving as well. Little mark on the front and chop them down to size. The side's now reinforced, ready for the actual chains to be connected to there. The next stage, what I want to do on the actual build, structure of the build, some handles on here, kind of arm rests, and they're going to be kind of section bolted to the front, one sitting in on here, and then maybe just sailing across there a little bit, I think would look great. So height wise, from this lot, I want to be about 350 high, and then sticking out about 560 really overhang on there. That's the kind of look I want. So I'm going to apply some glue on here first, fix this bottom part of the leg. Sure that's square and level. Drill a couple of pilot holes, I don't want that splitting. And that's solid. Next stage is to fix that into there. Now I could go in from the back, right the way through the actual struts up here and the pallet wood, but that'll be quite long, so I'm going to put 2 in there on an angle shooting down. So again, I'll do a couple of little pilot holes, they're entering in at about 45 degrees there, just about 30 or 40 millimeters away from the actual skid behind it, and that straight away pulls it in to that slat and into the back skid. I'll put 2 in there, 1 in each side. That's nice and solid. Now I'll do the same on the opposite side. Now my handles are firmly fixed into place. The next stage is to put my 4 bolts in the actual bottom part through the 2 lots of skids. Remember we reinforced them 2 side ones earlier on. That's going to go through there, and then of course our chain can be attached to that. Place a washer on there. A little bit tight. Okay, and then we'll put a washer on the other side. Perfect. That's 2 done on one side. I'm just going to do the exact same on the opposite side. So now the 4 eye bolts are in position on the base of the pallet bench. I'm going to lift this big, thick, heavy timber through. Again, 100 millimeters deep. And I'm going to slide it across the bench because this is going to be the bit that bridges over the top and holds this bench in position. The 2 A-frames will be either side, holding this big timber across the top. And what I want to do is just quickly get it in the center, 370 mil there, and 370 mil that side. Yes. And now, if I take my set square, where these bolts are coming out here, I'm going to just draw a line down up from the front there, where it's going to be in the center, transfer that across here, and find my center point there to drill through. So then I know for sure that my bolts will be coming out of the bottom here. And then of course my chain is going to go from the bottom of here right to that bolt there. And I'll do the same on the opposite side. Got 2 bolts top and bottom, washers either side of it. They're firmly fixed into place. The next stage is to build the 2 A-frames, which will go either side, holding this above our head. We'll attach the 4 chains to each side, attached onto the bench, which will allow it to swing. Now, as mentioned earlier, the A-frame itself is going to be made from 4x4 timber, 100 millimeters square. These sections are 2.4 meters in length. You can buy them off the shelf already cut that size, purposely for fences of course, but they're perfect for our frame on the swing. Now I'm going to create 2 A-frames, one for either side. I've placed them at one end here, butt up together, just about touching. And then the bottom here, I'm spacing mine apart at 1,800 millimeters, at 1.8 meters. Now that's in position on the floor, I need to put my 3 braces across here. One's going to be there, one's going to be here, round about here, and then the other one is going to be round about here, where this big centre timber is going to sit on top of, and then there'll be another little small one along the top there, a 4th one, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now these of course on the eye need to look level, so I'm going to take a measurement of about 100 millimeters from the floor, trusting the area you're putting it on is flat. Make a little mark there, move that down to it, and same again here on the outside edge, remember, not the inside edge. Yep. Now I'll make a little pencil mark just on the front there for now, so I know where they are. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw under the underside of there. Unfortunately you can't see. I'll do the same again on the other side. So that one's marked up and ready to be cut. I'll place it on there. My second one, I'm going to go from the bottom here and set that at 900 millimeters, which is there. There and there, so we know where it is, and then that's going to be level once it's standing upright. Again, with my pencil, marking that on the underside there, and the underside here. And that's brace number 2, already marked up with the angle that you need for that. And likewise with the third one here. So I'm going to take this up. What I'm now going to do is place this in here. These are butt up together, they're at the angle that we need. This piece I'm going to draw up so it butts to the top of there, because this is going to sit on top. I'm just going to double check that my measurements are looking okay here. 250, 250. And now I'm happy with this piece going there. So again, taking my pencil, just marking it either side here and here. So we bring it back to the same place. Mark on the underside. And that's the centerpiece that I need. So that will be bridging across there. And that timber coming across there will be mounted on top. And then one of these little offcuts, I'm going to also place another piece on there, which of course will just help hold this into position. This will be sailing through and we'll be getting glued and fixed in from different angles, but we'll get to that in a moment. And I'll cut down these 3 pieces. And this is where you are going to need to use a strong polyurethane glue and not just a water-based PVA. And I'm going to be driving in 4 large 4-inch 100mm screws, which are 8mm wide, so they're real thick ones, and drilling some pallet holes in so it doesn't split. Okay, so that's the base rail put in. Before I put that middle one in, I'm going to come up to this top end. And that will be absolutely solid now for that timber to come through and fit in there. Okay, so that is the structure now complete. It's quite heavy, it's a little bit overkill, but I prefer it, to be nice and strong, and that's a nice snug fit. So this is one A-frame for one side of my swing. All you've got to do now is build another one exactly the same for the opposite side. And once you've built one, you can lie that down, and that can be your template. You can place your others on top of that to get your marks and your measurements and your spaces between them. Or if you're really competent, when you are cutting these 4 braces, maybe cut 2 of them at the same time, the same size. So now I've put my 2 extra braces on either side on the outside edges of the top, holding that firmly into position. So I've got my motorcycle chains, which I prefer with the plastic around the edges, and I'm just going to clip them into my clips along here. One's attached to the back, of course, and then attach that one to the front. Same again this side, through here. So that's the 4 chains connected to my pallet bench. All I've got to do now is remove the workbench and let it swing. Now, when I set this up outside and got a couple of adults squeezing in on here, I decided it wasn't quite stable enough. So to give it a little bit of extra security, I put 4 brackets on the front and 4 brackets on the back. That way it's nice and secure. So hopefully I've inspired you to build your own pallet swing. But if you're looking for more inspiration, check us out on all social media handles. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about the tools I've been using, just check out our website, silverlinetools.com.